as we continue our journey of discovery in which we recount the largest disruptions of 2023 and plan for 2024. Today we'll be looking at India's aviation sector. We look at the substantial developments in this sector and try to identify specific opportunities for employment and businesses. So I'd like to welcome our expert speaker, Nikhar Arora, co founder Mentoria, and someone who is working with a vision to transform India and then the world by helping people to discover their passion. Nikhar, India's leading airlines have placed orders for 1,000 jets in 2023. Our country has also doubled the number of airports in the past 9 years, and has that number has reached to almost 150. And the government has announced that we would have about 230 airports by 2030. So, can you tell us what kind of talent and skills the aviation sector will need in the next 10 years?
Super question, Suhasini. Thank you so much for asking me that and having me here today. I'm going to cover this two dimensionally. I'm going to first talk about the aviation sector today and the challenges that it's facing, and then I'm going to dive into the different kinds of skills and talent that the sector is going to need over the course of the next decade. Because one of Mentoria's jobs as a career guidance company that works with 3 lakh plus kids is to analyze every single sector, every industry, and predict how the present and the future is going to pan out in terms of employments or skills or disruptions or everything. Because without that, any parent or child is going to be playing a complete blind game in terms of their career or educational decision making. And our analysts on the aviation sector talk about how today we have over 6,000 unemployed pilots. And to secure a commercial pilot license, an aspirant spends about 40 to 50 lakh rupees plus another 20-25 lakh rupees to get type rated for particular aircrafts. And this adds a huge amount of financial burden to an entry level graduate, because there's no guarantee that even after spending so much money that you're going to have a job or that you're going to be absorbed by an airline. But the issue is actually far more complex than not getting jobs. It's that of having the relevant skill sets. Because on the one hand, you have a serious shortage of trained and experienced pilots. And on the other hand, there's a long roster of licensed but inadequately skilled pilots in the country, many of who have just given up their dreams to fly and taken some ground staff duties. Most of the untrained, unemployed pilots either don't have the proficiency or don't have the currency. And currency refers to the rules that govern how much flying time you need to have, how much training time you need to have, what assessments you need to give before or in a specific time period. As you've mentioned, the Indian Airlines have placed orders for over 1,100 planes over the course of the next decade, with a bulk of them that might come in after 2025. Now, any narrow bodied commercial plane will need about 14 to 16 pilots for smooth operations. A wide bodied plane is going to need about 24 to 26 pilots. So, if you were to look at the demand supply, right, because India has a very, very small proportion of wide bodied planes, you're going to need between 17,000 to 18,000 odd pilots over the course of the next decade. That's about 1,700 or 1,800 pilots every year. But the issue is that the DGCA registers only 600 to 700 commercial pilot license holders every year. Now, that is going to solve a segment of the unemployment problem, but it won't to a large extent, primarily because the pilots that are currently unemployed don't have the requisite skill sets to be deployed in the new aircraft and the new technology that's going to come in. And because of that, we as a country are going to have an immense shortage of really skilled or rightly skilled pilots. We're going to be off by almost about 100%. And even a 5 to 10% shortage in an industry of talent is considered a big deal. In the aviation sector, the next decade is going to be much, much larger than that. An additional element of the problem is going to be that every aircraft needs not only first officers but also captains that need a significantly large amount of flying time, about 3,000 hours of training time, and we're going to have a much larger shortage of captains because they're not easily produced. You can't just train and become a captain. You need 3,000 hours of flying time. So this is the state today where the right kind of skills, the right kind of knowledge for the new kinds of aircrafts that are going to come in the country is very, very essential. So pilots and co-pilots, of course, is a very important talent need or a skill need in the country. But as the aviation sector grows, there are also some very exciting career opportunities that are coming up that most people may not know about. For example, aircraft maintenance engineers. As fleet sizes grow, we're going to need more and more skilled aircraft maintenance engineers to ensure the airworthiness and the safety of planes. And there are so many different kinds of specializations available in aircraft maintenance engineering. We're also going to need air traffic controllers, because we're going to have somebody that manages so much of new air traffic across so many new airports, right? That's something, I mean, you never hear a parent and a kid talk about, I want to become an air traffic controller, right? Because that's just not something that they're educated about or exposed to at a young age. We're purely thinking pilots and co-pilots and so on and so forth. And now with artificial intelligence, there are also AI powered traffic management specialists that are coming up as a career. And these are professionals that use AI tools to optimize the airspace, to prevent any kind of traffic mismanagement, to predict and prevent conflicts in the airspace, to ensure that there's an efficient flow of traffic that is ongoing, right? So that's another skill talent that's really going to be needed. An additional segment of talent that the aviation sector is going to need is airport engineering and construction professionals, because you're going to have more people who can design, who can build, who can maintain efficient and sustainable airports, right? And that's going to be very important for the ambitious plans that our aviation sector has. We're also going to need a lot of data analysts and cybersecurity professionals, because increasingly the aviation sector is reliant on data for safety, for efficiency, for customer experience. And therefore, the skills in data analysis, skills in interpretation of data are essential. Given how much of AI and automation is coming in the aviation sector and how much we're relying on digital systems, cybersecurity is going to be a big problem in the aviation sector. And so we're going to need a lot of cybersecurity professionals skilled in aviation to ensure that the challenges of the sector are properly managed. Another very interesting opportunity that's going to come up in the aviation sector as it scales up is sustainability experts, because the world is moving towards reducing emissions and figuring out sustainable methods of fuel and biofuel and green airport operations and noise reduction technologies. And that's going to need a set of really, really skilled professionals. We're also going to need predictive maintenance engineers, engineers who are going to be able to use AI algorithms to analyze from the sensor data, how the aircraft is doing, what are the potential malfunctions, schedule preventive maintenance, figure out how to reduce downtime to optimize airline costs and increase operational efficiency. So these are some really exciting career opportunities that are going to continue to come up as the aviation sector expands, right? And the way that we're
Lots of airport staff as well. Lots of airport staff.
absolutely, absolutely, 100%. The reason that I haven't mentioned airport staff enough is because with automation, with robotics, I mean, you look at the Bangalore airport today, right? You don't need as much staff today at the Bangalore airport because your tickets are checked by automated machines, your luggage is onboarded by automated machines, you can get your passes via automated machines. So the quantum of airport staff or the responsibilities of airport staff could be changing, but for the regular clerical stuff, you're going to have a lot of robots, a lot of automated technology that will take on, a large segment of the roles, which is why robotics engineers are going to be something that's going to be high demand in the aviation sector. We're also seeing an emergence of drones, right? We're also seeing an emergence of, drone engineers and drone pilots and flight engineers, which also belong to the aviation sector as drone technology advances. So that's going to be another very interesting skill set, right? That the sector is going to need.
Okay, that was amazing. So, with that, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about, the business opportunities. While there's a strong promise for employment, there would also be many business opportunities from arising from the growth of the sector. Can you give us an idea of areas that entrepreneurs could venture into?
Absolutely. So there are some very exciting opportunities or business opportunities that any sector scales up. And I think the first that comes to mind is going to be really good pilot training and education. Because if you're going to need so many more pilots that are skilled in so many new types of aircraft, that is a very obvious opportunity that emerges, right? Pilot education. I think regional air mobility is a very interesting opportunity that's coming up in the aviation sector, where people catering to tier two, tier three cities with electrical, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, right, is very interesting because the shorter haul flight, right, it sort of restricts or saves aviating traffic congestion. You've got connection to remote areas that increases exponentially, and so I think that regional air mobility opportunity is exciting. I think cargo drones as another opportunity is very exciting, where you're focusing on express delivery, you're focusing on medical supply chains, you're focusing on disaster relief, you're focusing on different kinds of, solving these problems through drone technology, right? Basically, last mile transportation. You've also got some exciting business opportunities in the sustainability aviation solutions. You've got entrepreneurs that are coming and creating businesses out of carbon offsetting programs, out of creating biofuels, about how to do more green airport operations. And I think that in itself is an exciting business opportunity. You also got blockchain based travel solutions. You've got entrepreneurs getting in blockchain technology to create secure and transparent ticketing, to ensure that baggage tracking is happening better, to ensure that loyalty programs are created more efficiently. You've got drone infrastructure and maintenance as the aviation sector scales, and the drone construction scales, right? Creating charging stations for drones, creating landing pads for drones, creating maintenance facilities for drones could be an interesting entrepreneurship opportunity. You also got AI powered air traffic management systems and software and technology that can help manage the air traffic in a far more predictive manner, especially with the skyrocketing number of flights and the more and more people wanting to use commercial aircraft, right? Because AI based air traffic management system can help you with lower fuel consumption, can help you better your operations, can help you increase your profitability, which is an important problem to solve, especially in the Indian aviation sector. So I think these are some interesting business opportunities that are coming up.
So everything you said, it gave me so many ideas. But if you wanted to just quickly give a message to young Indians
Yeah,
as to how they could leverage this sector, of course, in addition to everything else that you said, what would
yeah.
be your quick message to them?
So I think the first message would be, know what you're passionate about and why you're passionate about it. Know why you want to get into the aviation sector, right? Because one may look at media and believe that there's a lot of glamour in the aviation sector, that life is a certain way, but it's very hard. The life of a pilot, the life of a cabin crew, the life of anybody in the aviation sector is much harder than what meets the eye. So I think truly scientifically understanding yourself and knowing what you want to do in the aviation sector, because pilots is not the only opportunity, cabin crew is not the only opportunity, right? As we've discussed over the course of the last few minutes, right? Exposing or educating yourself to the variety of opportunities is very important. To get into the aviation sector, a STEM focus is important, because knowledge of science, knowledge of technology, knowledge of mathematics is going to help you in aircraft design, in fuel efficiency, in drone creation, and in building anything that you want to build in the aviation sector, right? There are also a lot of aviation specific degrees that are coming up. I mean, for example, I was just reading IIT Guwahati has a center for drone technology, like a center of excellence. You've got IIT Kanpur, you've got Hindustan Institute of Technology and Sciences, you've got now BTech degree in autonomous drone technology, right? Most people aren't so aware of the rapidly expanding private education degrees in the aviation sector. And I think knowing about that is very important, right? Because I mean, if you want to become an air traffic controller, would you know where to study? Would you know what institutes have that course? That's not something that actively comes to mind. Number three, I think continuously learning. You can just never stop learning in the aviation sector with the amount of tech that's coming in, with the amount of automation that's coming in. So staying updated on the latest AI, automation, sustainable aviation solutions, reading about it constantly, is I think extremely important for ideation, execution, and growth in your career. And last but not the least, I think sharpening your abilities in data analysis and coding and robotics and software development, right? Especially if you want to get into or build a business in this sector, or not just work as pilot, co-pilot, ground staff, cabin crew, and you want to do something else in the aviation sector. Knowledge of these skills is very important. Continuously building these skills is very important. I know I said last, but I'm going to add one more. seeking as many internship and apprenticeship opportunities in airlines, in airports, in technology companies, in drone startups. There are so many drone startups in the country today. It is exceptional, right? And I think any internship or apprenticeship opportunities will give you a much more realistic understanding of the career and whether you like it or not, right? So at least that would be my advice to any young person watching this.
Fantastic. So this has been, an invigorating discussion. And I really thank you, Nikhar, for joining us today, for giving us your time and sharing these fantastic insights, which it wouldn't have been possible for any young person to get them all in one place. So thanks from our viewers on all our social channels and from all of us at Market Access Consulting. I wish you a very successful 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. Appreciate it.